Imagine this. It's 1840 and you enter a prestigious London hospital. The surgeon greets you without gloves, wearing a blood-stained apron that hasn't been washed in months. He believes that the dirtier the apron, the more experienced the doctor. But that's not the worst part. He pulls out a vial of a miracle cure for your cough. What's in it? A mixture of heroin and chloroform. The 19th century wasn't just an era of cylinders and steam engines. The 19th century wasn't just an era of cylinders and steam engines. Today, we're going to lift the velvet curtain on the experiments that paved the way for modern medicine. After watching this video, you won't be able to look at a modern doctor's appointment the same way again. If you think modern-day energy drinks are over the top, you haven't seen the pharmacopoeia of the 1880s. During this period, the world's most famous neurologist, Sigmund Freud, wasn't just studying the mind, he was aggressively promoting cocaine as a magical substance. Freud referred to it as a panacea for depression, indigestion, and even morphine addiction. Ironically, he ended up creating some of the world's first high-ranking drug addicts. But Freud's madness wasn't the only one. Vin Mariani, a popular French tonic made of Bordeaux wine treated with coca leaves. It was endorsed by popes, royalty, and even Thomas Edison. One glass contained roughly 7 milligrams of cocaine. The cough cure. By 1898, the Bayer Company, yes, that Bayer, started mass marketing heroin as a non-addictive substitute for morphine and a sedative for children's coughs. Imagine a world where your local pharmacist suggests a cocaine toothache drop for your toddler. This wasn't back-alley science. This was the cutting edge. The logic was simple. If it makes you feel better instantly, it must be working. They hadn't yet grasped the concept of the crash, leading to a generation of miracle-cured citizens who couldn't function without their daily dose of liquid lightning. We often think of plastic surgery as a Kardashian-era luxury. In fact, the 19th century was a wild west of facial reconstruction, driven by the desperate need to hide the effects of syphilis. Before effective treatment became available, the disease often progressed to a late stage, affecting internal organs, bones, and cartilage. The nasal septum was particularly affected. In 1814, Joseph Carpue performed the first Indian method rhinoplasty in the West. He didn't have silicone or sterile grafts. Instead, he sliced a triangular flap of skin from the patient's forehead, twisted it, still attached at the bridge of the nose to maintain blood flow, and stitched it onto the remains of the nose. The patient had to sit still for weeks while the new nose took shape. The method worked, but the results were frightening. But that was just the beginning. Before this method became standard, surgeons tried using paraffin injections. To correct a sunken nose, they injected hot liquid wax directly under the skin and molded it until it hardened. It looked great for a week, until the sun came out. The wax melted, dripping down his neck, or turned into paraphenomas, hard, painful lumps that turned his face into a topographical map of terror. The late 1800s saw the discovery of radium by Marie Curie. Today, we know that it is a deadly carcinogen. In 1898, it was considered liquid sunlight. Since radium glowed in the dark, people decided that it was full of vital energy. This led to the creation of Tho-Radia, a French cosmetics line. Their face cream contained thorium chloride and radium bromide. The advertisements promised that it would stimulate cellular activity and give you a radiant complexion. Technically, this was true, as the radiation caused skin irritation that appeared as a healthy blush. People drank radium water, Radithor, as a general tonic. One wealthy industrialist, Eben Byers, drank almost 1,400 bottles of the drink. He claimed to feel invincible, until his lower jaw literally fell off. This era was a lesson in believing in the new. Because it was new and scientific, it was assumed to be beneficial. The realization that invisible rays mutate DNA came too late for thousands of people who brushed their teeth with radioactive toothpaste to whiten their smiles. Before we had defibrillators, we had Giovanni Aldini. In 1803, Aldini stood in front of a crowd at Newgate Prison in London. In front of him lay the body of George Forster, who had just been executed for murder. Aldini had not come to bury him, he had come to wake him up. Using a powerful battery, Aldini touched the electrodes to the man's body, causing him to shiver. It wasn't a circus trick, it was the birth of galvanism. People genuinely believed that electricity was a vital fluid, a literal liquid soul. This particular experiment so shocked the young Mary Shelley that she wrote Frankenstein after hearing these stories. But while Aldini was trying to revive the dead, others began using this new magic to treat everything from melancholy to deafness by sending powerful shocks directly into a patient's skull. We call it progress now, but back then it was pretty damn close to necromancy. It's easy to look back and laugh at the stupidity of the 19th century, but they weren't stupid people. They were pioneers who worked without a map. The same era that gave us heroin cough syrup gave us the first successful blood transfusion and the discovery of microbes. Every crazy experiment was a data point. When the surgeon's patient was dying of infection, we learned about sepsis. When the wax nose melted, we learned about the biocompatibility of materials. We live in an afterworld made possible by their before. We enjoy safety only because they were brave or crazy enough to try the impossible. The line between crazy scientist and visionary is usually just a couple of decades of proven results. So the next time you take an aspirin or turn on a light bulb, remember the people who tried to revive corpses with electricity and dyed themselves with radiation. They were the test subjects on which our modern world was built.